Under Silver Point's rainy night sky, a routine stop on Highway 17 turns electric when Navy officer Valeria Cross locks horns with a cop banking on his badge. One spark of defiance unveils a rotten system. Will she fold or fight? Stay tuned, this tale's gonna grab you tight. Highway 17 stretched quiet under a drizzle, its wet pavement catching the glow of scattered streetlights in Silver Point, Oregon. Headlights from the odd passing car flared and faded, like whispers of something tense in the air. Valeria Cross cruised her navy blue sedan at an easy pace. The rain had let up, but the road stayed slick. Billie Holiday's soulful jazz hummed from the dashboard, her fingers drumming the beat on the wheel without thinking. 2 hours behind the wheel had left her tired. Outside, Oregon looked empty, almost asleep, even this close to downtown Silver Point. No uniform tonight, just a black sweater and jeans, hair tied back in a low ponytail. Valeria blended in, another woman driving home after a long shift. She liked the vibe, low-key, quiet, free. Then, her rear-view mirror lit up with red and blue flashes. The pulsing lights closed in fast, her stomach tightened. Not fear, no way. She knew she'd done nothing wrong. It was that gut-level unease, the kind you get when you've seen how thin the line is between legit authority and straight-up abuse. She flicked on her blinker, eased onto the shoulder, and killed the engine. Hands stayed on the wheel, out in the open. Deep breath. She'd been trained for this. Years in the service taught her that even here, her rank didn't always cover her. The patrol car pulled up behind. For a moment, nothing, just glaring headlights, then a figure moving toward her side mirror. The sergeant was a big guy, solid, buzz-cut, heavy boots crunching wet asphalt. He held a flashlight in one hand, its beam hitting her face. She didn't flinch. "License and registration," he said, skipping any hello. "Sure thing," she answered, keeping it cool. "Mind telling me what's up?" He didn't bite, just grabbed her papers, stepped back and gave her car a slow look. "Your taillights are out." "Come again?" She frowned. "No chance. I got them checked at the shop last week." He narrowed his eyes, like she'd thrown down a gauntlet. "You arguing with me?" Silence hung heavy, the air feeling thicker. "I'm just saying I had them looked at. If there's a problem, I'll handle it." "Step out of the car," he snapped. She didn't jump. No one else was on this road. Her fingers tapped the wheel, then moved to the door. "Can you say why?" "Because I said so," he smirked, all attitude. "Not a request, not a warning?" A power trip dressed as routine. She got out. Night air hit, colder than it felt inside. She kept her moves smooth, deliberate. He stepped back, eyeing her up, like he was sizing up how much he could push before she'd crack. "Turn around, hands on the hood." Valeria held still, locking eyes with him, calm but steady. "Why?" His smirk vanished. "You resisting?" "I'm asking a question." He huffed, pissed, grabbing his radio. "Got a driver not complying?" he muttered, then barked, "Turn around!" She knew this was it. Go along, maybe it's fine. Push back, maybe it's trouble. But she wasn't here to play his game. "Not happening, officer," she said, firm but not loud. "I know my rights. I need a reason for this, and you've got no grounds to pull me out." He closed the gap. "You under arrest?" he snarled, snatching her wrist. She dodged, stepping back. "For what?" "Obstruction." He slapped cuffs on her way too tight, shoved her into the back of his cruiser, plastic seat biting her back. She stayed quiet. Flashing lights bounced off the wet road. Staring at the partition, she saw her reflection. No fear, just the face of someone ready for a fight that was only starting. "You know," he said, hopping in the driver's seat, "most folks just zip it. Keeps things simple." She didn't bite. "Kept quiet," he chuckled. "You be home, not riding to the station." She turned, staring him down for the first time. "You thought I'd just roll over?" His jaw clenched. Something, anger, maybe a flicker of doubt, crossed his face, but he looked away, fired up the engine. In the side mirror, she watched the road behind fade into red and blue. Ahead, the station's dark bulk waited, empty but full of chances. Chances to turn this around. They rolled into the lot, bare concrete, walls lit by harsh lamps over the door. He parked, got out, yanked her door open. "Move." She raised her head, stepped out, cuffs cut into her wrists. He hadn't loosened them, and that was no mistake. Inside, Sergeant Mitchell greeted them, looking bored, eyes blank. Booking was mechanical. Prints, mugshot, signature, done. Hayes marched her to a cell. At the bars he paused. "Think you're a big deal?" She smiled. "I know who I am." He froze, tapped the bars. "Good luck tonight." The bars slammed shut. She sat. The cell was tight, reeking of bleach and old sweat. The metal bench was ice cold through her jeans, but she didn't shake. Morning was coming, and he wasn't ready for what had hit. That bench was brutal, hard, freezing, no windows, just a flickering bulb overhead taunting anyone stuck in there. The air smelled of damp mold, stale coffee, and some sharp chemical, probably floor cleaner. Valeria Cross sat straight, hands on her thighs. Her wrists stung from cuffs Hayes had left deliberately tight. Beyond the wall, booking desk noise droned, flat voices, a keyboard clacking, a yawn. Someone poured coffee. Another night on the job. She hadn't made a dent, yet. Time dragged. 10 minutes? An hour? She leaned back, head against the wall, eyes shut. In her mind, faces flashed, commanders, teammates, cadets from training. Afghanistan, Sudan, high-stakes ops at sea, deals nearly gone south. She'd learned to stay cool when the world unraveled. Heavy boots echoed, slow and sure. Valeria's eyes opened, head still. She knew that walk. Sergeant Daniel Hayes's voice hit before he reached the cell door. "Settled in?" he asked, arms crossed. She didn't answer, just held his gaze, steady. He didn't like it, his lip twitched. "If you'd done what I said," he went on, "you'd be crashing in your own bed, not here." Valeria let a small smile slip. "That almost sounds like a threat, Sergeant." He shook his head. "No threat, just how it goes." She leaned forward, elbows on knees. "No, Sergeant, what's coming is how it goes for you." His eyes flickered, doubt or irritation. He turned, boots loud in the hall. She shut her eyes again, ready for hours of quiet and waiting. But the wheels were turning. About 40 minutes later, by her guess, the station door swung open. Two voices, one young, urgent, the other low, tight. She couldn't see, but she knew Hayes was rattled. "Sergeant, this is big," the younger one said. "You gotta check this out." "Not now, Ramirez, Sir, please, it's about her." A beat, silence, then Boots stomped back to her cell. Hayes showed up, his smugness gone. Behind him, a young officer, Latino, skinny, clutching a tablet, looked nervous. "Who's she supposed to be?" Hayes asked, glaring at the screen. "Lieutenant Commander Valeria Cross, Navy, 20 years in, combat leader, medals, clean record." Hayes's mouth tightened. He stormed off, cursing under his breath. Ramirez lingered, catching Valeria's eye. He gave a quick nod, not sorry, but a sign of respect. Then a woman strode in, long coat, dark shades, all business. Laura Bennett, Valeria's lawyer, the kind who seemed to have judges on speed dial. "Where's she at?" Laura asked the desk guy. "Cell B," Hayes tried to pipe up. "Sergeant," Laura shut him down, not even glancing his way. "Save it. I'm filing an emergency motion. You've got no clue how bad you screwed this." He gritted his teeth. For 2 hours, Laura was a machine. Papers, calls, faxes. Dirt on Hayes piled up. Too many stops targeting black drivers, missing arrest logs, swept under complaints. By midnight, the DA's office called. "You sure?" Sergeant Mitchell asked. "Her?" He shot Hayes a look. "Yeah, she's here." He hung up slow. "DA's sending a lawyer, maybe more." Hayes's fists balled. He ducked into the break room. One slip, and it could have been nothing. But he didn't call it a slip. He thought she should have played nice, said yes, sir, not had a record, not been Navy. He didn't see it coming, not just his job, maybe his whole life. A guy in a sharp coat flashed a Justice Department badge and Hayes was sweating buckets. He sat quiet like a kid caught red-handed. Valeria, still in her cell, breathed steady. The night was splitting open. Silence hiding a storm, loneliness masking momentum. Her arrest not a dead end but a launch pad. Like someone was rattling the walls that shielded guys who leaned on badges and clout. They called her to the front. 3 people waited. Laura, a DA rep, and the deputy chief. "Lieutenant Commander Cross," the deputy said, stiff. "You're free. Charges dropped. We apologize." She looked at him. No anger, no gloating, just calm. "Hope you get—" "This isn't the end," Laura said, eyeing the DA guy. We're starting an internal review, he nodded, and it's with civil rights, now. Valeria hit the cold floor, stepped into the night. It wasn't the same night. She wasn't solo anymore. On the steps, Ramirez hung back, then walked up. Didn't know who you were. Glad you didn't back down. Not about my rank, she said. It's for everyone who doesn't have one. He nodded, went quiet. She walked the city. Streetlights shimmered in puddles. Silver Point, Oregon was out cold, but morning papers were stirring. The story wasn't live yet, but it'd break. Daniel Hayes's name wouldn't just be a flub, it'd be a wake-up call for anyone thinking a uniform blocked out truth. Morning light cut sharp through the county courthouse's tall windows, painting clean lines on the floor, like a path to something real. The air was dry, smelling of old files and cheap coffee. Folks filed in, some with folders, some with dreams, some just numb. Valeria Cross stood at the defendant's spot, but she didn't look like she belonged there. They ditched the cuffs, gave back her stuff. A navy blazer hugged her frame, white blouse crisp, screaming discipline. No jewelry, no flair, just raw strength and simple lines. She stood still, eyes forward, wired tight. Laura Bennett sat beside her, cool as ice, flipping pages, jotting notes without a glance up. Her vibe was bulletproof. The courtroom doors swung wide. Sergeant Daniel Hayes stepped in. Same look as that night, chin up, back rigid, shoulders broad. But the sharp ones caught it, twitchy hands, locked jaw, eyes that wouldn't settle. He saw Valeria, looked away fast. Judge Thomas Hargrove came last. Older, face-worn, gray at the temples. He slid his glasses into place and got to it. Let's roll, he said, thumbing the case file. Prosecutor Holt, you're up. James Holt stood, mid-40s, soft northwestern drawl, suit pressed to death. No warm-up. Your Honor, we've got grounds to believe Lieutenant Commander Valeria Cross's arrest was off base. More than that, we've got proof of power abuse by the officer who cuffed her, Sergeant Daniel Hayes. A low buzz hit the room. Hayes tensed. The judge waved for quiet. Keep going. Evidence shows the arrest had no clear cause. Dashcam proves the detainee didn't resist, and Officer Hayes made zero effort to explain his demands. The judge eyed Hayes. Sergeant, anything to add? Hayes stood, cleared his throat. Your Honor, she was mouthy, didn't cooperate, ignored a direct order, textbook arrest. Holt slid a single sheet from his folder, calm as you like. Your Honor, here's Valeria Cross's file. Naval Academy grad, 2 combat medals. Led ops overseas, not a single blemish, no write-ups, no gripes, nothing. And you're telling me, he turned to Hayes, this woman, middle of nowhere at night, just decided to get lippy for kicks? Hayes's mouth opened, but nothing came out, just a tight jaw, a dark look. On top of that, Holt pressed, a 2-year audit of Sergeant Hayes's stops shows a nasty trend. 78% of drivers he pulled were African American, but only 6% faced charges. The rest? Quick holds, no reasons, no follow-up. Whispers rolled through like a breeze. The judge sighed, pinched his nose. Sergeant, this ain't looking good. She resisted. Hayes doubled down. The tape, Laura cut in, standing. Your Honor, we'd like to play a clip. The judge gave a nod. Screen dropped, lights dipped. Everyone locked eyes on it. Dashcam showed Valeria pulling over, hands on the wheel, voice even, asking questions, face calm, no hint of trouble. Then Hayes' sharp tone, cuffs, rough grip. It closed with him pausing, yanking the cuffs tight, his force clear as day. Lights popped back on. Silence hit like a brick. The judge leaned back. Mr. Holt? We're asking to toss all charges and kick off a full investigation into Sergeant Hayes' actions. Seconded, Laura added. My client did nothing but stand up for her rights. She's a Navy officer. She deserves more than a pass. She deserves respect. The judge lifted his gavel. Case shut. I'm ordering a probe into the officer's conduct and telling the county's civil rights team to dig into his stop numbers. The gavel slammed. Done deal. Valeria let out a breath. Not showy, just steady. She knew it'd go this way. Hayes looked like his world had caved in. Hands clenched, eyes wild, his badge, his control, his whole deal gone in a blink. Out in the hall he moved quick, dodging reporters, slipping past security. He clenched his jaw, caught other cops' looks, not respect anymore, but judgment, unease. "Sergeant Hayes," he spun. Chief of Police Paul Carter stood by a wall, big guy, gray hair, stone-faced. "My office." Hayes nodded, mute. Door closed. Carter didn't talk for a minute. Then, "We've got a mess. You went too far. Worse, you had no idea who you were messing with." "She was—" "Enough." Carter's voice was low, heavy. 29 stops in 6 months. 23 on black drivers. Footage, complaints, now this. I did my job. You broke your oath. Hayes stepped up, fists tight. "Because she's Navy? Connected?" "No." Carter shook his head. "Because you had no right. You thought you'd skate." He tossed a folder on the desk. "Investigation's on. You're out till it's done. If it's what I think, you're finished." Hayes stood, lost for words, adrift. Across town, Valeria sat at a cozy cafe, window seat, coffee in hand, scrolling headlines. Cop faces probe after wrongful arrest. She gave a small smile, not gloating, just knowing someone had to light the fuse. She did. Chief's office was no nonsense. Wood paneling, brass nameplates, old parade pics, faded awards, city thank yous framed up. An Oregon flag, a bit bleached, hung on one wall. The wide desk, glass-topped, held neat stacks of files. A green lamp glowed soft in the corner. Paul Carter sat behind it. Silver Point's top cop. 30 years deep, eyes tired, steps heavy enough to creak boards. Daniel Hayes stood in front, stiff like he was facing a firing squad. Chin high, but it was a front, panic, not pride. His hands twitched, grabbing at something he used to trust, something slipping fast. Carter watched him, slow like a ref before a call, then slid off his glasses. "Sit," he said, pointing. "We're talking as men, as cops. Though that last part's shaky now." Hayes perched on the chair's edge, wired. "Sir, Zip it." Carter's voice was flat, tired, annoyed. "I saw the tape, every frame from the pullovers to the lockup, saw how you talked, how you cuffed her, heard, because I said so." He raised an eyebrow. "You know what year it is, right?" "I followed protocol." "No." Carter's hand hit the desk, not mad, just firm. "Protocol's a reason, a warning, rights, staying cool, in charge. You, ego trip, showing off, no respect for who she was." Hayes looked away. She pushed back. "No," Carter cut in. She asked questions. No insults, no yelling, no refusal. She didn't bow, and you couldn't deal, because you expect it, especially from a woman, or, let's be real, a black woman. Silence landed hard. "We both know your stops lean one way. Before, nobody could hit back. She could. Now you're the poster boy for what's busted here." Hayes slumped, rubbing his forehead, sweat beading. He'd been bulletproof, stats buried, complaints trashed. Now it was all out. "What's next, sir?" Carter pushed a folder his way. "You're benched. We're digging. DA's digging. Civil rights folks are in. Reporters are sniffing your old stops. Set up," Hayes mumbled. "She played it? Set up," Carter snorted. "No, she just didn't let you roll her like usual. And she's not alone. Her lawyer's a beast, Navy's behind her, vets, activists, and a rep you smashed in one dumb move." He stood, hit the window, stared out. "Worst part, you thought it was small potatoes, a bad light, some lady, no uniform, easy to scare. Wrong call. You didn't know her. Now she's not just her, she's a spark, a reason to tear into everything you've done." Hayes got up, pale. "What do I do?" Carter turned. "Clean out your desk, drop your badge, gun, lawyer up. Pray she doesn't sue you herself. And..." He paused. "Ask why you signed up, power or duty?" He sat, looked off. Hayes left. The hall stretched forever. Guys who'd slapped his back now dodged his eyes. Some stared, not friendly. Ramirez breezed by, no nod. It felt like falling. Ground gone. At his locker he moved slow. Mug, photos, service medal. He held the medal, then chucked it. None of it meant squat. Valeria was across town in a TV station's meeting room, booked for a morning show, not as a victim, but an officer burned by a broken setup. She didn't want the gig. Laura nudged. One call sealed it. Her base commander asked her to speak up. On camera, she was steady, shoulders back, words clear, no theatrics. Not here for payback, she said. I want this to stop. For me, for anybody. Every cop pinning on a badge needs to get it. Serve people. Don't own them. In the hall after, an old guy in a vet's jacket stopped her. Caught you on TV. Proud of you, ma'am. Thanks, sir. My grandson's 17, black, drives. You made me think he might get pulled over and walk away without getting humiliated. She gripped his hand, dipped her head. He left. His words hit deep, grounding why she fought. Next day, Hayes's name was scrubbed from the police site. News flipped to talking heads, chatter about statewide department audits. But Hayes wasn't out. He sat alone in a dive bar, nursing a drink, TV blaring, Silver Point cop, case fuels reform push. He killed the sound. The bartender, barely 20, stared. That's you, huh? The sergeant saw the clips. Hayes drained his glass, tossed bills, walked out, silent. Outside, quiet slammed him. He stopped at a light. Red glow hit his face. This road was done. He'd strutted it, cocky with fake clout. Now it was over. Across town, Valeria cracked a window. Breeze brushed her hair. The air carried freedom, justice, the kind you gotta keep scrapping for. But tonight, she knew one crack had split the wall. Mayor's waiting room glowed soft, morning light pouring through big windows, post-rain freshness hung outside. The city stirred, cars rolled, people hustled, kids laughed. Silver Point wasn't the same, not the pavement or buildings, but the feel, the pulse. Valeria sat on a bench, steady, upright, thin folder in hand, black bag on her lap. Gray pantsuit, sharp and simple, hair in a tight bun. Old service habit to stay locked in, even off the clock. A woman in a white blouse. Warm smile approached. Lieutenant Commander Cross, the mayor's ready. Valeria nodded, stood, headed down the hall. Mayor Sarah Wells, 50s, short gray curls, sharp eyes, stood to greet her, hand out. Thanks for coming, Valeria. Okay if I use your name? Sure, she said. Appreciate the invite. Not an invite, the mayor said with a small smile, a nod to what you've done. They sat, teacups, papers, a tablet between them. Your case kicked up a storm, not just here but counties over, news cycles, vet groups. You struck a chord. Didn't plan to, Valeria said straight. Couldn't let it go, though. You nailed it. I've had calls, moms, organizers, soldiers. They all say the same. Finally, someone spoke up. The mayor paused, picking her words. I want you on a new civilian board. Independent, focused on police ethics, community ties. We're rolling it out next month. Your story's the match. You could be the flame. Valeria eyed her tea. Its faint scent took her back to shipboard mornings, pre-mission briefs. She'd told Afghan rookies how to earn locals' trust, to hold fire unless it was life or meth. I'll think it over, she said, not doubting, just want to be sure I'm the right fit. Mayor Wells's smile grew. That's enough for me. You've got a voice, people are listening. Outside, Valeria hit the sidewalk, folder tucked close. The day felt new, washed clean. Trees gleamed with dew, cars cruised, strangers gave nods. Some knew her face. At a crosswalk, she stopped. A mom crossed with a 4-year-old, the kid gripping her hand, yapping about bright store windows. Valeria smiled. She fought for more than herself, for the small ones, the ones who'd grow up needing to believe cops were safe, not scary. Her phone pinged. Laura, State DA's reviewing 10 of Hayes's cases from the last 2 years. It's rolling. Valeria breathed out. Even, calm. This wasn't a one-night deal. But the real fight was on. Same time, Daniel Hayes sat alone in an internal affairs room. Clock ticked loud. Desk empty. They'd snatched his badge. No calls from buddies. His lawyer pushed a deal. He skimmed a complaint list. Name days, dates. Lives he hadn't clocked when he'd pulled folks over. Barking because I said so. Now those names burned. Raw truth staring back. An IA officer stepped in. We start at 9 o'clock. Sign this. He nodded, signed, hands shaky. He wasn't a cop anymore. No power, no badge, nothing. Meanwhile, a big magazine's newsroom was building a piece on Valeria. A reporter flipped through shots. Academy grad, ship drills, mission debriefs, then the stop's grainy video. Quiet defiance, her steady voice. You don't know what you're doing. Not just a case, a saga. That night, Valeria got home. Small second-floor place, books stacked, photos of her old crew. She changed, boiled water, opened a window. The city buzzed, alive, not too loud. No fear, just a spark that change could happen. Phone rang, Captain Reynolds, old boss, voice rough from smokes. Saw the news, hell of a stand. Thanks, sir. Pentagon's caught wind. Don't be surprised if they call. They're thinking civilian outreach, maybe reform work. She sighed. Not sure I want the glare. Got it. But you're there, Val. More than an officer. A marker now. He hung up. Near midnight she sat by the window, green tea steaming. Hall lights spilled soft shadows. No exhaustion, just a quiet drive, like waves building. Her laptop glowed with an article, When an Officer Turns Hero, Not in War but on Her Own Streets. She didn't buy the hero tag, just a woman who held her ground. In the glass, her reflection, straight spine, unflinching eyes, scars not visible but real. A street lamp kicked on, light hitting her face. She smiled, small, true. The win wasn't court or Hayes's fall. It was walking through whole, knowing tomorrow's stopped wouldn't stand alone. This story reveals that one bold stand can rattle a flawed system. In Silver Point, Oregon, Valeria Cross didn't just protect herself, she championed everyone muted by unchecked authority. Her grit shows us change ignites when we refuse to stay silent, whether it's tackling injustice at school, in our neighborhoods, or for someone voiceless. Life tempts us to look away, but Valeria's fight proves true power is speaking up, no matter the stakes. You don't need rank, just heart. What's your cause worth fighting for? Every step reshapes the world. Big thanks for diving into this story with me. If it struck a chord, hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more. Drop a comment. What's one thing you'd stand up for? Let's keep the fire burning.